Tuesday, March 2nd, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you the latest local news. Mike Suppi joins us later with sports, and Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. Later in the show, our transportation columnist Jim Cameron recently flew to Dallas but took the train back home to Connecticut. He shares the differences from comfort to cost to convenience on this week's installment of Talking Transportation. But first, taking a look at the area's top stories. A local Roman Catholic priest was arrested by Seymour police detectives on Monday for allegedly embezzling money from St. Augustine Church in Seymour. Father Honore Combo, 50 years old, of Weston, former pastor of St. Augustine's, turned himself into Seymour police detectives at headquarters after being informed of a warrant for his arrest. Father Honore Combo was arrested and charged with 1 count of first-degree larceny. Seymour police detectives began an investigation in late April of 2015 after detectives received a complaint from representatives from the Hartford Roman Catholic Diocesan Corporation. The church representatives informed detectives they had concerns that Father Honore Combo, the pastor of St. Augustine, had misappropriated money which had been bequested to the parish from a deceased parishioner. The parishioner had left the money through a series of monetary annuities. That it had been believed that the parishioner had left 4 annuities to the parish. However, detectives were informed during a financial review that there was a 5th annuity that had been left to the church but never reported to officials by Father Combo. Investigators discovered that Father Combo had opened a bank account at a local bank and deposited the proceeds from his monetary annuity into the account. It was also discovered there were several other checks written out to the church which were found to be deposited into his personal bank account. Police say Father Combo was cooperative with detectives throughout the entire investigation. And in other news today, an Ansonia man was shot several times during a robbery Tuesday night. Ansonia police say they found 24-year-old Christian Balaj of Platt Street suffering wounds to the lower abdomen and leg after reports of shots fired in the area of State and North Cliff Streets around 10:20 Tuesday night. While officers searched for evidence, police received a second call reporting that a man had been shot and needed medical attention on Rockwood Avenue. That's where they found Balaj. He was taken to Yale New Haven Hospital. Ansonia police said he was undergoing surgery for his abdominal injuries. His condition was not available. Prior to being taken into surgery, Balaj reportedly told police he was approached by 2 men on North Cliff Street near the Armory parking lot. He told officers the men attempted to rob him, then shot him. He drove himself to Rockwood Avenue to get help from a friend. Police said no description of the suspects is available at this time. The only information known is that the suspects fled in a small, compact, light-colored car. And Monroe police have arrested 2 brothers in an apparent cigarette burglary of the FM1 convenience store on Monroe Turnpike that happened back in November. 46-year-old Jacob Dagley and 43-year-old David Dagley, both currently incarcerated at the Bridgeport Correctional Center, have been charged with 3rd-degree burglary, criminal mischief, and larceny. The 2 were brought to Monroe, charged, then returned to jail. According to reports, police received a call during that incident around 5:46 in the morning from the store. Officers found the lower half of the front glass door was broken out. Surveillance video showed a 2-tone pickup truck back into the parking space in front of the door. 2 suspects in hoodies used a large rock to break out the lower half of the glass door and crawled through the opening, where once inside, they quickly loaded up cartons of cigarettes into a garbage bag. 75 cartons of cigarettes were stolen, valued at $7,000. Detectives investigating learned that Westport, Milford, and Shelton experienced similar burglaries, and based on information developed in those investigations, police were able to obtain arrest warrants for the 2 who are currently jailed on similar charges. And local parents with children who have serious medical issues are in Hartford today for a public health committee hearing on a medical bill that would allow pediatric access in certain cases. The latest medical marijuana bill would allow children with intractable seizures and other life-threatening illnesses access to cannabis in oil form. The bill is House Bill 5450, an act concerning the palliative use of marijuana. It provides access to the program for minors and also would permit research programs to occur. The hearing started at 10 a.m. this morning. This is something we spoke to State Senate Majority Leader Bob Duff about last week on Connecticut Pulse. And last year, we also spoke to some of the parents advocating for this use, including Joy O'Meara, a Trumbull mom who says the oil form of cannabis can help her son. Parents argue medications their children are currently prescribed have much more serious side effects than using an oil form of marijuana would. And we've talked to parents about this further. According to the Connecticut Mirror, the Connecticut chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics fought to stop a similar measure last year, but plans to advocate for this year's scaled-back proposal, which allows access to non-smokable forms of marijuana to minors with one of 6 conditions, including severe epilepsy and terminal illnesses that require end-of-life care. We'll be talking more about that story on CT Pulse today at 12:30. But switching gears now and taking a look at the forecast. Mostly sunny with temperatures falling to about 34 today, much cooler than earlier in the week. Wind chill values between 25 and 35. Tonight, things get even colder. There's going to be a low of 18 degrees. On Thursday, increasing clouds with a high near 34. Again, wind chill values between 5 and 15. And then Thursday night, snow is on the way. Snow likely mainly after 4 a.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 20 degrees. New accumulation of less than 1 inch possible overnight Thursday. And the snow will continue into Friday morning. But again, not much accumulation expected, but we'll keep an eye on it. But we're going to step out for a break now. When we come back, Donald Eng takes a look back on this day in history. Mike Seppi joins us, and we have some sports highlights from last night's boys basketball semifinals. And a lot more news coming up on your coffee break after this.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
And Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
The 2016 FCAC playoffs are coming to the HAN Network. We'll have all of the big games beginning February 23rd on the court and on the ice. And we'll have it all live and streaming HD. This is your home for the 2016 FCAC Winter Championships. The HAN Network. Bach coaching across the way for the Danbury Hatters.
And we're back on this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. It's time to throw it over to Donald Eng for a look back on this day in history. Check it out.
The king is dead and long live his hideous remakes. But first we go to 1877, the U.S. presidential election of 1876. Just 2 days before inauguration, the U.S. Congress declares Rutherford B. Hayes the winner, even though Samuel Tilden had won the vote. Under the so-called 1877 compromise, Democrats allowed Republican Hayes to become president in exchange for the withdrawal of federal troops from the South, thus ending Reconstruction. 1903 in New York City, the Martha Washington Hotel opens, becoming the first hotel exclusively for women. It was an immediate hit, being booked solid on its first day with a 200-person waiting list. To 1949, the first automatic streetlight installed in the city of New Milford, Connecticut. That's not it, by the way, but the installation was likely followed immediately by the first kid to be grounded for coming home after it was on. 1962. Wilt Chamberlain sets the single-game scoring record in the NBA by scoring 100 points as the Philadelphia Warriors beat the New York Knicks 169-147. The game was played at the old Hershey Arena, and the 7,000-seat facility was just about half full. No New York media was present at the game, and it was not televised. No video footage of the game has ever turned up, though there is audio and photographic evidence. And finally, now we go to 1933 for this. That, of course, the iconic King Kong opens at New York's Radio City Music Hall. The movie is especially noted for its stop-motion animation by Willis O'Brien and a groundbreaking musical score by Max Steiner. In 1991, it was deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. The film's line, "No, it wasn't the airplanes, it was Beauty killed the Beast," is ranked number 84 on the American Film Institute's top 100 movie quotes of all time. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Ing.
Thanks so much, Don. It is now time to throw it over to Mike Seppi, who is filling in again today at the news desk. Mike?
Thanks, Kate.
At the sports desk, I should say.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry about
sports
that.
And news. It's news. Well, we start today with the FCAC boys basketball semifinals, which were held last night at Fairfield Ward and broadcast by the HAN network. In the first game of the doubleheader, 6th-seeded West Hill High knocked off Trumbull, the 2nd seed, 53-43, as the Vikings won for the 8th time in 9 games. 3 Vikings scored in double figures, including Parrish Roll, who racked up a game-high 19 points. Tyrell Alexander scored 13 points, and Lenold August added 10. Jack Moore led Trumbull with 14 points. We have some highlights of that game for you right now.
Senior missing a couple. Looking to move is McElroy. McElroy to Recker along the baseline. Back out. Moore for a 3, and that is good. August goes 1 of 2, and it's a 10-8 game. Now a 3 here, and that is good. Giovannini got the ball, left wing, let it go, and started getting back on defense. Yagubian back to Parrish Rowell. Rowell to the left side. Yagubian a deep 3. That's good! And the quick pass coming down. Bodies falling. Back it comes. We were all ready to grab somebody. Down goes Rowell to put it home and a foul. What a scenario that was. Alexander with 5. Alexander up top with 5. Rowell with 2. Rowell with 1. Rowell at the buzzer. It's good. Parrish Rowell makes it a 9-point game at the buzzer. Back. Lyons fights for it, and it's taken away. Lobbed ahead Rowell. Rowell lays it in. Rowell makes it 47-39. Is it in? Nice play by Jack Moore, but it'll be too little too late as Alexander tips it away, and the West Hill Vikings will celebrate a 53-43 victory, and they will move on to the FCAC Championship on Thursday night right here at Fairfield Ward High School.
And that was the opening game last night. In the nightcap, top-seeded Danbury High faced fourth-seeded Wilton as the Hatters reeled off the first 12 points of the game en route to a 77-41 triumph. Danbury is seeking its first FCAC title since 1992, while West Hill is the defending league champion. We have some highlights of the Danbury-Wilton game coming up for you right now.
Bach coaching across the way for the Danbury Hatters and Joel Gariak for the Wilton Warriors. Bounce pass goes inside, almost knocked away. In fact, it was, but recovered in the corner by Judah James. Feeding down low, off glass, no good. Looking for a second try, Marcus Fox. It falls, and a foul. Off to the near side, Nesbitt. Nesbitt on the left wing. Feed it into the corner for Crandall. Crandall now back at it, goes for a three. That's good. Tyron McCray. Tyron McCray gets lost out on a quick inbound, quick three, quick answer. Tyron McCray.
Getting back to the jump ball.
Drew Connolly. Connolly had it taken away. Nesbitt coming back. It's a 2-on-2. Nesbitt puts it home and a foul. Inbound taken away. The outlet goes down to Connolly. Connolly's got to save it, but he saved it to Scott Nesbitt. Nesbitt to James. Nesbitt, a three coming. That is good. And we know the FCAC championship now will be the Danbury Hatters and the West Hill Vikings as they count it out to 2-1, and we're finished. The final score, the Danbury Hatters 77 and the Wilton Warriors 41.
All right, and the final is tomorrow at Ward and will be broadcast again by the HAN Network. Tonight, the HAN Network will be at Terry Connor's rink in Stamford for the FCAC boys ice hockey semifinals. Second-seeded Darien will tangle with St. Joe's, the sixth seed, in the opener at 5 p.m., followed by top-seeded Greenwich battling fourth-seeded Ridgefield at 7. Staying on the ice, led by 2 goals and an assist from junior forward Alec Began, the Wilton High boys ice hockey team defeated Massac 4-1 on Tuesday night in the rinks at Shelton as both teams ended their regular seasons. The CIAC boys basketball pairings were released earlier today. The top seed in Class LL is Fairfield Prep. Windsor is the top seed in Class L, Sacred Heart in Class M, and Immaculate in Class S. Prep will be in action tonight in the SEC boys basketball final, taking on Hill House at Shelton High at 7 p.m. And finally, the wrestling coaches' final poll was released. Danbury was number 1, followed by New Milford, New Fairfield, Windham, Ward, Foreign, Trumbull, Newtown, Ledger, and Bristol Eastern. With sports, I'm Mike Suppy.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Well, getting back to a little more news today, a parade of Milford residents spoke in opposition to a plan for an 8-30G affordable housing project that would be at 214-224 Seaside Avenue. They spoke against it Tuesday evening, mostly raising concerns about the area's existing traffic conditions, some also saying that the project's density is out of character with the surrounding single-family neighborhood. About 100 people attended the March 1st Planning and Zoning Board public hearing at City Hall, although about half left when the board voted to deny a plan from Grillo Services for a proposed landscaping products operation on West Avenue. The board held open the public hearing pending the results of a resident-funded traffic study. You can get more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And New Canaan emergency responders' ability to communicate with local dispatch on their two-way radio was reduced on February 12th due to an equipment malfunction that caused the system to switch to a backup. The town's emergency communications was at a critical stage for about 5 minutes on that day, according to Police Captain John DeFederico, when there was virtually no communication with the dispatcher who is at the New Canaan Police Headquarters. That 5-minute period was when the town's two-way radio system was being switched from its normal main system, which stopped working, to a backup system at police headquarters. The system remained on a reduced capacity backup system for about 24 hours. During the 24-hour period with diminished radio capability, the normal weak spots in town's two-way radio system, particularly in the northwest and northeast parts of town, were worse, according to DeFederico. But there's much more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. And last week, Wilton officers arrested 2 men following a hand-to-hand drug exchange that took place in the parking lot of Caroluzzi's Georgetown Market around 11 in the morning. Responding to an anonymous tip from a person who witnessed the transaction and who also supplied police with registration numbers and vehicle descriptions, officers found the alleged buyer's car still parked at Caroluzzi's. The alleged seller had already driven away. The buyer, 60-year-old Donna Devaney of Florida Road in Ridgefield, was inside the market and police saw in plain view a bag of marijuana in the interior of her car. When Devaney came out to her car, police arrested her for misdemeanor possession of 1 ounce of marijuana. They said she admitted to being involved in the alleged drug deal. Officers of the Weston Police Department later made contact with the man accused of selling Devaney the marijuana, 26-year-old Michael Cocote of Weston. They notified Wilton's agency, and Wilton police seized the car, searched it, found approximately 1 ounce of suspected marijuana, as well as drug paraphernalia, and they arrested Cocote. Devaney was released on a promise to appear in court on March 3rd. But we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, Jim Cameron is talking transportation. He compares taking the train and the plane on a recent trip. That's coming up on your coffee break after this.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
Are you hoping winter is finally in our rearview mirror? Can't wait for the air and water temperatures to start rising? Well, if the answer is yes, you need to get over to Darien or Westport and stop by the Dock Shop, where it's always summer. Both shops are being stocked with lots of new merchandise, including fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. At the Dock Shop, you'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Online at dockshop.com.
Find over 1,000 special stories at Hospital for Special Surgery. Go to hss.edu/backinthegame.
I was jogging 5 months after my cartilage tear.
Skiing a year after hip surgery.
And playing grandma 4 weeks after hip replacement.
One special hospital, 1,000 special stories. See Connecticut patients at hss.edu/CT.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation, commentary and analysis on getting around. A recent business trip took me to Dallas, Texas, on a rather crowded, turbulent 3.5-hour flight from LaGuardia. What fun. But the return trip was fun. 2 days and 2 nights on Amtrak, absolutely free. Riding a lot of Acela trains in the Northeast, I built up a ton of Amtrak guest rewards points, augmented by their new co-branded credit card. So when I checked my calendar and the Amtrak website, I saw an opportunity to enjoy a leisurely ride home in a full bedroom, meals included, for free. The long-distance trains I rode from Dallas to Chicago, that was the Texas Eagle, and from Chicago to Washington, D.C., the Capital Limited, were all superliners, double-deck cars with a variety of accommodations, including coaches and sleeping cars. Each train also had a diner and an observation car, though the sightseeing through Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois wasn't exactly memorable. But the second leg of my journey through the hills and valleys of Pennsylvania and Maryland was gorgeous. Flyover country sure looks a lot different from an elevation of about 20 feet. My bedroom was equipped with a big couch that folded down into an almost queen-sized bed, surprisingly comfortable for sleeping. The private bathroom doubled as a shower. Firing up my radio scanner, preset to the railroad's frequencies, I followed the action as the conductor and the engineer received instructions from a dispatcher hundreds of miles away. The food was good, all cooked to order, and it was included in my first-class fare. Dining was communal, which is actually one of the fun parts of train travel. You get to meet real folks from across the U.S., chatting about their travels, their work, everything except politics. In Chicago and Washington, D.C., where I had time between train connections, I enjoyed Amtrak's Metropolitan Lounge for first-class passengers, complete with free Wi-Fi, snacks, and priority boarding. I also had time to explore those cities' beautifully restored train stations, jammed with commuters, Amtrak passengers, shops, and restaurants. To their credit, Amtrak does a great job with their money-losing long-distance trains. The service is truly first class. The ride is pretty smooth, and for the most part, on time thanks to a heavily padded timetable. We only had 2 small delays, one caused by another Amtrak train colliding with a truck at a grade crossing, no injuries there, the other by a boulder that had fallen on the tracks that needed to be removed. Because demand is high and the supply of sleeping cars is low, fares for long-distance Amtrak trains are pricey, and they're booked many weeks in advance. So here's the price comparison. Round-trip airfare from New York to Dallas is as low as $230. But one way on Amtrak in coach is $299, and it's over $700 in a roomette. Of course, with Amtrak, it's like getting 2 nights of hotel plus meals, but it's well worth it. So next time you're planning a long-distance trip, turn it into a journey. Think about taking the train. I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation.
Thanks, as always, to Jim Cameron. Some great insight there. But getting back to a little more news today, State Representative Ben McGorty wants anyone who assaults an off-duty police officer to face increased criminal penalties, and legislation he has proposed this session of the Connecticut General Assembly aimed at accomplishing this was heard this week in a public hearing of the legislature's Public Safety Committee. McGorty testified before the committee to ask for support for his proposal. McGorty, who has volunteered with the Shelton Department for over 25 years and serves on Shelton's Board of Fire Commissioners, works alongside police officers in his capacity as a first responder and says the measure is necessary. Under existing law, the assault of an on-duty officer is a Class C felony. The charge carries a minimum 1-year prison sentence and a maximum $10,000 fine. McGorty's proposal would extend that law to cover off-duty officers, and those he knows and works with in the first responder community support the proposed change in the law. And in Ridgefield, 2 of the developers of Greenbox, a 100% recycled perforated pizza box, showed off their product to students in an AP economics class at Ridgefield High School recently and discussed their pitch to Shark Tank, the television show that rates new product ideas. The principals of the company, Jennifer Wright, Ned Kessing of Ridgefield, and Tim Walsh, created a company, Eco Convention, that is marketing the patented Greenbox, a multifunctional pizza box that can be divided into plates and then folded into a storage box for leftover pizza that fits into the refrigerator. While Wright was studying in Columbia University's Masters of Business Administration program, the 3 developed the product and proceeded to bring it to market in 2010. Before they were on Shark Tank, they participated in the Columbia Pitch event, entered business plan competitions. They also used social media to get the word out. For example, on Twitter, Ashton Kutcher saw the idea and spread the word. Through that, the entrepreneurs were on numerous talk shows, were highlighted in various magazines, and went to trade shows, and the company began to expand. The Shark Tank show later went to Columbia University to do shows about products from the entrepreneurs at the school. The Green Box was selected to be previewed on the show, and the long process began. The principals were interviewed, their backgrounds were checked, and they were filmed. They say the publicity from the show has helped their business expand, and they're still going through the process of negotiating a deal with Shark Tank. Very cool news there. And finally, just taking one last look at the forecast. Mostly sunny today. Temperatures falling to about 34 degrees by 5 o'clock. And then it gets colder tonight, but it's mostly clear with a low around 18 degrees. On Thursday, increasing clouds with a high near 34. And Thursday night, we're going to see some snow, not much, but it's likely mainly after 4 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 20. And that snow will continue into Friday morning. Chance of precipitation about 60% so far. New snow accumulation of less than 1 inch possible. But that's going to do it for your coffee break today. Coming up at 12:30, CT Pulse with myself and Josh Fisher. We're going to be talking about the growing heroin epidemic with an expert from Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. We also have a lot of state news to touch on today. And of course, we'll take a look at this week's editorial cartoons. Nutmeg Sports coming up at 2. But of course, your coffee break will be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.